Aloha ukulele players and ukulele lovers and ukulele makers and anything that has to do with ukulele. Aloha from Hawaii. I'm Kimo Hussey. This is my good friend Dan Ryerson. And I've known Dan for a number of years now because Dan used to live 13 years on the island of Molokai. And while he was there, he became interested, I guess, in learning to make ukes and did that. He used to be a guitar maker, but that's how we fashioned our friendship. Dan now lives in South Dakota, where he moved to be closer to family, but he still is very, very involved with ukulele. We come together today to talk to you about the Guild of American Luthiers. Again, that's the Guild of American Luthiers. So, Dan, can you tell us just a little bit about this guild and what they're all about?
Sure. I've been a member for, I think 20-some years, and it is, as you say, Luthiers Guild, which is primarily, of course, in America, guitar makers and maybe secondarily violin and those other string instruments. But recently, elbowing its way onto the stage there is the ukulele, which, as we've discussed so many times before, is some serious lutherie business. And more, we've seen some of the guitar makers trying their hand at turning out ukuleles, in addition to the Hawaii-based.
So the organization or their primary interest in activity is lutherie, is making stringed instruments.
Stringed instruments, right.
Ah, okay. Okay, and they've been around, what?
I know, I want to say 30, 40 years anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And actually they used to be doing their events in South Dakota, where I now live. And now they're in Tacoma, Washington.
Right. And periodically they publish a magazine that deals with lutherie. Yes.
Right. Quarterly.
Quarterly.
Very good, very informative journal written by articles and how-to and interviews with
right.
top makers.
And so you've been a member about 20 years now?
More than 20, I think, 21 or 22,
wow.
As I recall.
Yeah. Not only Dan, but some other friends that I have here in Hawaii have for years talked to me about the Guild of American Luthiers and trying to get me to go to one of their exhibitions. They have this exhibition every 2 years, yes? Every
I think this
years?
time it ended up being 3 years. It had been every other year.
Yeah.
Yep.
So anyway, these guys would talk to me about going, and I really wanted to because I'm a player, as you know, and I spend a lot of time talking and getting to know luthiers because I learn a lot. And the more I learn about how the instruments are made, I think the better player I become.
Let me interrupt you, because that's a two-way street. The more we get with good players like this guy, the more we learn how to put that quality into ukuleles.
Yeah. And it's I appreciate that because a lot of luthiers, even though they make these instruments, you know, they're pretty familiar with the instruments, but they don't play the instruments very well. Some luthiers don't play the instrument at all, and so it's really a wonderful interface, and I like what you said because it's give and take on both sides. Anyway, these guys are trying to convince me to go to their exhibition so I could play the ukes that they made. And so the last one that they had, whether it was 2 or 3 years ago, I don't remember. I decided to go, and I went with Dan and two other friends from Hawaii, and we met. I don't know, it was 1 or 2 other luthiers who had come from different states. So, Dan, can you tell us about that and what happened?
Well, one of the things they do at the GAL convention are what they call listening sessions.
Mm-hmm.
And for anybody else, this would be supremely boring because they'll take one category of instrument and play the same 16 bars of music over and over on each instrument.
Mm-hmm.
But to the builder's ears, you're picking up nuances. And they do the steel string guitars, classical guitars, flamenco guitars. Well, we saw, and this was 2011, by the way. And
Mm-hmm.
we, of course, the Hawaii people, we had 4 or 5 ukuleles there. And we began looking around, and lo and behold, some of these other mainland guitar makers had brought out some ukuleles too. So we went to the organizers and said, hey, how about letting us do an ukulele listening session? And since we got the guy here that can do that for us, and they said, that's a great idea. And lo and behold, this produced about 20 ukuleles
Right.
that we spent a good part of an afternoon listening and
And the
exchanged-
room they let us use was filled.
was filled. So not only the ukulele makers were there, but there were some pretty good guitar makers that said, hey, I'm going to go and see what this is all about.
Right.
The upshot of that was a very successful session and a lot of information, good information from the builder's standpoint was exchanged.
Cool. So that has led to.
Well, this year's GAL convention 2014, actually it's July 24 through 27.
Mm-hmm.
And it's again in Tacoma, where they usually do it at the Pacific Lutheran University campus. And so we're right there in that Seattle-Tacoma area. There's the headquarters of GAL. There's a lot of good luthiers. I feel like I should have a ukulele shirt on, but I got the next best thing. This is a Boeing airplane
Yes.
from Seattle.
Okay. And I flew Boeing airplanes for my whole career. So
Probably,
yes, great shirt, buddy.
probably the only thing better would be a Seattle Seahawks, but I don't have one. Anyway, this year, based on what we did last time, and a little bit of lobbying we did, the GAL has decided they're going to keep on with a good thing. And so they have already scheduled an ukulele listening event, an ukulele concert, and I understand an ukulele builders panel discussion.
Mhm.
The concert player and the demonstrator is going to be none other than our main man, Kimo Hussey. So everybody is looking forward to that because nobody can show off the more advantage than this guy.
I'm kind of honored to have been invited by the guild to do this. But the importance of this event, people, is that the Guild of American Luthiers, starting this year, is formalizing ukulele's participation in their exhibition, and this is a huge thing for ukulele. I think. Now the other thing is there's a lot of interest in the guild from guitar makers to learn to make ukuleles because they're not only interested in the art and the craft of doing that, but they appreciate the size of the ukulele market. So, what does it mean for us? This is opportunity to learn because there's a lot that we can learn by figuring out how to hold C, F, and G7 on the ukulele, and all the different chords and strumming things. But I promise you, if you take some time to learn a little bit about how these instruments are made and what goes into a quality instrument and how you can take that and transfer that and apply your interest and love of the instrument in a way that the music comes out wonderful is just really great. So again, there's going to be an ukulele concert that features the ukuleles that people bring. There's going to be a panel discussion of ukulele makers there, and there's going to be this listening session where I get to play all of the ukuleles there, and that's going to be fantastic. What else would you like to tell us about that?
Well, and again, people display their instruments there. If you're a GAL luthier, they bring guitars, they bring violins, and more they bring ukuleles.
Right.
So if you're an ukulele builder, you got to be there. And if you're a guitar maker thinking about it, or you've just made your first ukulele or two, this is the place to bring them, have somebody play them, you'll get feedback, you'll get to show them off. Really, we look for it to be a lot bigger than the last time, and I don't know if I've already mentioned this, but when we got this thing going last time, it produced about 20 ukuleles for Kimo
Sure
to
did.
demo. And I think there's going to be twice that many this time.
At least. And here's the reason why players should come to this. I don't know of any other event or venue where a player can come and see as much quality in uke making as they will see here, all in one place. There are people that actually come from around the world. One of the people I met there the last time was Jeffrey Young, a very good guitar and ukulele maker who lives in Malaysia. Last time I was in Malaysia, I got to visit Jeffrey's shop with him. He is coming, and people, I got to tell you, if you haven't seen Jeffrey Young's instruments, you really, really need to. And he's just one of a gazillion people who are going to be there, and they all make high quality ukuleles.
That's a good point, because even though it's called the Guild of American Luthiers, just like our Hawaii Ukulele Guild, there are members from all over the world. Japan, and in fact, a couple of people in the uke listening session were from Australia last time.
That's right,
Yep.
Scott Wise was
Yep.
there. That's right.
So it's going to be big, and
Yeah, okay, and so this is going to be in July of this year, July the 24th to the 27th. And the organization is called the Guild of American Luthiers. Their website is www.luth.org. That's www.luth, which is spelled Luth.org. So you might stay in touch with their website as this thing continues to develop, and this will not be the last time we hear about the gal in this event. It's a wonderful opportunity. So people, please pass the word. Dan, a parting shot.
see you in Tacoma.
All right. See you in Tacoma. Aloha.